Good morning. Today we're going to talk about what dragon fruit varieties grow the fastest. Now the short answer is going to be, you're looking at it, probably a giant Palora or a Selenocereus megalanthus. Now that's true if you live in the tropics, but to me in Southern California this is not the fastest growing variety. Now I do live in zone 9B, inland San Diego a little bit, up on a hill. And we were down, our low last night was 43 degrees. So in this case, the Selenocereus megalanthus will kind of really slow down its growth and almost go dormant. But it depends on the variety. Columbiana is still really happy here. You can see my other variety I have of Selenocereus megalanthus, yellow Columbiana. And that thing is just dominating. So it's growing really well. Compared to this Palora here, you can see. Now I do grow it in soil, so it's not grafted. I actually found it and bought it this way, which is pretty rare. Is that a nursery of all things? But what I noticed is once we get into the 40s, it kind of will yellow a little bit, see it? And kind of really just go dormant, like a succulent, like an aeonium. Now, in addition, Selenocereus megalanthus, the ants in our area, the Argentine ants, really like to eat the new growth. You can see this is some branches that tried to form last season, and the ants damaged them, and so they aborted. So that was a bummer, but all in all, I would say this variety grows pretty quick in our specific climate, but it would be the fastest growing variety if I lived in a warmer area. So let me go show you some more varieties that grow quickly in my experience. So this is Hana, or Hylocereus monocanthus, and you can see it's a very aggressive grower. This plant is 19 months old. So I got this as one cutting 19 months ago, and look at it now. Really beautiful, darker colored growth. I haven't had the fruit yet, but I'm excited to try it. And I've taken a few cuttings, so I have 3 at the base, and this is the original one. And you can see it's got one new branch of new growth in the middle of December, but this thing is going to set fruit next season for sure. And you can see I had to move it up the hill. It got damaged from too much sun, so this could not handle about 90% sunlight in Southern California. So I dragged it up the hill, get some shade here from a California pepper tree, and you can see it's very happy. But wow, what a beautiful variety. Hylocereus monocanthus, Hana. So it's a white fleshed fruit, and I got this from Spicy Exotics. And it grows wild along the Hana highway. I don't know if it must have been imported there a long time ago, but very interesting variety. All right, let me go show you another one that grows really quickly. Now, believe it or not, this is just 4 cuttings that are 7 months old. So Hylocereus guatemalensis, or the Guatemalan varieties, they tend to be really vigorous growers here in our climate. And this one especially. Now this one is similar to American Beauty. We'll let you know more about it after we assess it. But you can see it must have over 24 new branches forming right now. So this is the most aggressive grower in the winter here, or late fall here in Southern California. It's just unbelievable. So something similar to this would be American Beauty, but it does tend to be a bit more sensitive to cold and frost, so be aware of that. But this one is doing great. Let me go show you another one. So here is a slightly different Hylocereus guatemalensis, and I'm hoping this is either G1 or G3. And I've had these 4 cuttings for 9 months. You can see that they're rather large, thick cuttings, and they're just doing great. Now it's not quite as vigorous of a grower as the last one I showed you, and it's a little bit different. The spines are different. But you can see it did get a little bit of sun damage from the heat as well. But it bounces right back. And this one doesn't have quite as much growth as the other one I showed you, but very, very vigorous growers. So at least in my experience, I would say in my specific climate that Hylocereus guatemalensis grows the fastest where I live. I mean, that's just 9 months. So this is Hylocereus undatus, or white flesh dragon fruit, and most are very, very vigorous. You can see here my Thai white grows really, really thick, and this thing is only 15 months old. But wow, that one is probably the fastest grower of the undatus I have. Now this one, I got at Home Depot for $5. It was at the sick table 2 years ago last winter, and you can see it's just a great aggressive grower, and I expect fruit from it next season. Most of these undatus will like less sunlight. They don't like to be in full sun, and they get a bit damaged. And so I like to grow them with a lot of shade in the either morning or afternoon. You can see here David Bowie. That one definitely is a slower grower in my experience. It looks a little bit different. It is a Hylocereus undatus as well, but it just takes its time. It's not as rapid as some of these other ones that we have here. So I'm excited to see this fruit next year. There's been so many white-fleshed dragon fruit cuttings that have just been spread out for the past 100 years or so, from the French and Polynesia and everywhere else. So there's a lot of variability on these cuttings. I even have a white-fleshed undatus that appears to be self-sterile, so they are not all self-fertile, FYI. All right, let's go talk about hybrids now. There are some very vigorous growing hybrids that I want to share. So this is Purple Haze, one of Paul Thompson's infamous hybrids, and he crossed Rixford, which is a Hylocereus guatemalensis, with Nitzel, which is a Hylocereus undatus, and he got some really beautiful, high-quality fruit from these hybrids, which are very vigorous growers as well. You can see Purple Haze, I want to say is about 18 months or so, maybe 16, but very, very vigorous, lots of winter growth, and it's doing great. Now hopefully you've seen our Dark Star. That thing is a little bit faster than these other ones. That is definitely the fastest, most vigorous grower besides those Guatemalans I showed you. And then also we have Cosmic Charlie here, which is growing really well in our climate too. So Cosmic Charlie, Purple Haze, Dark Star all seem to be very vigorous growers in my climate, my experience. And I know I usually don't like to mix varieties, but I have Cosmic Charlie's father here, which is Nitzel. So I kept them together just to see how they do. And so here's a white flesh variety, Nitzel, growing with Cosmic Charlie. But definitely vigorous growers doing really well. Let me go show you some more hybrids. So here's another vigorous grower in my experience. This is Natural Mystic, and it's actually a Hylocereus polyrhizis crossed with a Hylocereus undatus. So that undatus DNA has really kind of sped up the growth in this variety, in my opinion. You can see it's just doing really, really well. Reaching for the stars. So I would definitely say that this one grows faster than a traditional polyrhizis with really, really long branches. Hopefully you can see how long they are. So I'd recommend, if you want a fast growing polyrhizis, maybe try this one out, even though it's a hybrid. And you can see why. All right, let me go show you one more. So this is Bruni, Hylocereus stenopterus, crossed with Hylocereus undatus. And you can see, compared to the others, Connie and Kathy, this one grows the fastest, in my opinion. So lots of new branches into the winter. And hopefully you saw earlier that this plant had tons of new growth last spring down here. Now I did take some cuttings and I left a few, but it had shot out like 9 or 10 new flower branches, if I remember correctly. So definitely would say that this deserves to be on the list. I've been impressed with its growth. I've only had it about 14 months, I'd say. This one is harder to find, probably because of its purple flowers. Okay, so there you go. These are some of the faster growing varieties in my experience. I hope this helps. Give us a like and a subscribe. Thanks for watching. Take care.